More energy, Adam, because Traore came in and just shit all over Atletico.
Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown. My name is Adam. I'm here with the Use.
What's up, guys?
4-2 victory against Atletico Madrid. Use. We hadn't beat Atletico in La Liga since December 2019.
I know, it's crazy.
A massive time. And we remember so much. I'm so amped right now because we remember so much of what sucked about last season under Koeman, even though we had some, Copa del Rey bright spots and a chance at the league. The reason we lost is because we, I think, went 0 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw against Real Madrid and Atletico last season. And even though you can say, Copa Final is a big game, it really wasn't. PSG dominated us. And so, even this season to begin with against Atletico and Real Madrid, we had an okay game against Real Madrid, I think, a month ago. But overall, we still hadn't had that big game performance we wanted to see from the team.
Finally.
And then they just come out and have a great game, right? Barring the fact that Dani Alves got that late red card, which, kind of threw us into some defensive postures, and the fact that they scored a first goal, right, with Suarez passing a nice assist to Carrasco. But overall, you have to just be really pumped about how we played, and especially Adama Traore.
For sure.
What a great performance.
Beast.
Yeah, and, you think about Dembele, who, of course, got jeered by the fans and, of course, is a player who, we want to play. But with Traore, we didn't need him today, right?
Nope.
He just came out, guns blazing, the guns on, the biceps, and just looked phenomenal, looked to create a threat every time. And Diego Simeone, who's been throwing some barbs at Xavi and being a little salty because his team is not as good this season.
Letting up 30 goals this season.
Yeah, letting up more goals than us and scoring more goals than us this season. He just didn't adapt quick enough, and we saw Traore run through. He performed really well. We saw Jordi Alba score that amazing volley with a Dani Alves assist. We saw Gavi score off that Traore cross. What a beautiful game.
Dude, it's just big ups to everything, right? The transfer window, this game has really panned out. You said Traore, then we had Aubameyang come on the pitch late in the game. Didn't matter too much because we were already up, I believe, 4-2 in that point. But, dude, just wonderful, wonderful offensive play, even though we went down in the first 10 minutes or so. And then we came back, punched him in the mouth, 3-1. At the end of the first half, which is crazy against a team like Atletico because we didn't expect
it's a crazy against
like
any
that.
team, man.
True.
Right?
True.
Even though things have been a little bit, 2 steps forward, 1 back with Xavi so far, this was the game where, you don't want to be too bombastic and this is the turning point, right? We've said turning point probably 20 different games in the last few years.
But we got to be excited about this.
We got to be excited, and this could be it because, we're ecstatic with how the team performed. There were some issues, right? The defense, of course, had too many holes. There were a few opportunities that they should have scored more. Atletico, I thought. Sure. Ferran Torres keeping Suarez onside for the second goal was a mistake. Just the way they carved through us for that first goal. Dani Alves, got to get your head in the game. I thought Gavi had a few too many fouls that could have been, some yellows or some serious
Gavi
issues.
Play,
but
though.
Gil Manzano didn't come out, wasn't very pro-Barca in this game. We saw, a penalty that wasn't called. We saw that push down on Torres and the jersey tug that did not get a penalty. So there are things to work on, no doubt. Busquets, again, it does not look like he is up to the task all the time.
Gave the ball away quite a few times.
Some errant passes, but got to be happy. And I think, the biggest player who's shown to me today besides Traore and Dani Alves was definitely Frenkie de Jong. We've been talking for so long how we need Frenkie to be big. We need him to have a great performance. And today we saw, I think on paper we probably saw a 4-3-3 with Alba, Piqué, Araujo, Dani Alves. The midfield was Pedri, Busquets, Frenkie de Jong. Up front we had Gavi, Ferran Torres, and Adama Traore. But we saw a really fluid offensive structure, right? We saw Dani Alves a lot of times cutting inside, and because he's so good at passing the ball, he was able to, not just get run down every time. And then Frenkie de Jong was kind of that midfield commander who was kind of getting the ball where it needed to be and making sure that offensively we had the room for Traore to run. We had the room for Torres to run. We had the space for Jordi Alba to get into.
But let's be honest, though. He was dropping back multiple times to try to get the ball moving, and a lot of the players were moving. Normally we comment on how we're just standing there being not energetic, not creating space for other players. I think Traore especially, obviously, was creating so much space, so much havoc on the right side, and bullying some of those players, right? Multiple times people trying to drag him down, and he's just bodying these people and creating space. And I don't think Atletico is ready for his just pure power and pushing through that right side, because a lot of times we have players on that right side, and they get kind of shut down. But he was able to push through, make that cross that went over Ferran Torres' head, came to Gavi, and he scored that second opener. to take the lead, which was truly wonderful because we know when we saw Gavi and how excited he was to make that goal for Barcelona, these youngsters really coming out, having some senior players or older players really showing that they can connect with each other, open up space. And I just really, really enjoyed the Barca play in today's game. It was
Me
very
too.
exciting.
I think we've always been saying for the last few years we need a winger. We need wingers who can spread the pitch. We have that with Dembele, but what's interesting about Traore is he's not exactly like Dembouz in that he's able to cross better. I think that's really the difference we saw today. And Traore is not a world-class player right now, right? You'll hear everyone talk about how he lacks that final component to get assists and goals that would really take him to that next level. We saw an assist today, which was really good, but it's just that intensity and that ability to take a man one-on-one that we miss a lot. We had Ilias and Abde. They are so rough still, right? I think they still need some time at Barca B. And Dembele, we're not going to invest so much in him if we have Traore who can perform the same function and perhaps better, looking at today's game. And so I'm just really excited for how the future looks. I think there's still a few questions we have to figure out as a team, but overall, you have to be really happy with Xavi. And, it's a little tongue-in-cheek to call this a turning point or the game that will define the season. Yeah. But this is really a place for Xavi to build on and to create the base for how he wants the team to play. And what was so amazing to me was how fluid the offense was, right? We remarked so many times throughout the game that, oh my God, Frenkie de Jong looks like he's in a back three. Then we talked about how, wow, Dani Alves is like really in the midfield. We talked about how Alba at times was back. At times he was bombing forward. And, Ferran Torres, he's a player who still needs to find, I think, his place in this Barca team and for us to understand how he plays best. But you see him dropping back a lot. He seems like a player that wants to receive the ball and then go forward, not just an out-and-out striker. And then you see Aubameyang coming in at the end and really just providing that threat. That, if we get a long ball out to Aubameyang, he'll run for it. He'll try to put an attempt on goal. I think, one issue I had with Xavi is that he subbed out Traore, who I think if we kept him on would have helped us keep that pressure up in the second half, because there was a period between Suarez's goal and the red card where Atleti really looked like they could have tied the game. And we all have seen, just this year, how many times Atletico have had a late draw or a late win. And I was a little bit worried. But just so much to look forward to.
Well, I agree with you that the sub wasn't the most ideal decision. We did go down a man, right, and we played very well at 10 versus 11, right? We were able to hold up the defense, even though I think that Suarez goal, we were, like you said, a little shaky, but we were able to do it, and we what's the word?
We weathered the storm.
We adapted. Yeah, we weathered the storm. We were able to come back. It was unfortunate that Aubameyang had to come on, and we were one man down. But big whoop. It doesn't matter. We won the 3 points, which are huge because we're now 2 points ahead of Atletico Madrid in the top 4 spot for the Champions League.
Gunning for top 3, man. Yeah. Right? I'd have to check the Betis score right now, but they were down, I think, 1-0 to Valencia. Oh. So if they drop points, I mean, this gives us a great chance to look really good. And then, Europa League, like we all say, we're not that enthused about. We think that top 4 in La Liga is better, but winning the Europa League gets us a chance in the Champions League guaranteed. And so you have to start to feel a little bit better about that Napoli tie that's coming up in, 2 weeks?
Yeah. And, overall, if we can keep this kind of Barca fluidity coming forward and creating these goals, because that Ronald Araujo goal, the third one that came in, he was in the right position at the right time, and he moved forward to get that goal. And I still think we, like you were saying, some things that we need to work on. We're still vulnerable on set pieces. We got to accommodate for that because that can't happen. We are lucky to score 3 goals before the first half. I don't think every game is going to be like that. And you have to say that Atletico Madrid probably had some deficiencies this game. Oblak not making any
that's
saves.
The really surprising thing.
Yeah.
Oblak just does not look as good as he used to. And of course, he's having an offseason, which any great player is allowed to have, but it's really just showed how much Atletico Madrid have relied on him to stop goals in the last few seasons. And, they need to find themselves. I really didn't like Diego Simeone talking about how Xavi's only experienced, the Barca style. And even after the game when he was asked if we outplayed them, he said not at all. The expected goals really were not high for Barca.
No.
So this was a game where things went our way. And the things aren't always going to go our way. So, if we have a drop down next game, I'm not going to be too surprised, right? And it's all about managing our expectations. The same thing we've been preaching ever since Lionel Messi left, that top 4 is our goal. There's going to be some rough patches. We have some young players playing, right? Gavi's playing in some huge games. Gavi's the new Pedri, right? Last season we said the same thing. Pedri in El Clasico, Pedri against Atletico Madrid, Pedri against PSG, right? We're having these young players take on huge responsibilities, and I think it's going to serve them well for the future, but they're going to have some mess ups, and we have to be used to that. And I think, Pedri, speaking of him, who we haven't talked about, looking still a little bit rough, but also just such a wonderful joy to have him back. I think we're all so ecstatic to see Pedri back in there, boss in the midfield, connecting with Ferran Torres, connecting with Traore. I think that's one beauty about what we have assembled in this winter transfer window, is that we have, one, all the big players who came speak Spanish, right? Aubameyang, Traore, Ferran Torres, Dani Alves. And then I think the other thing that's really good is that Ferran Torres and Traore are on the Spanish national team. So, they already play with Busquets. They already play with Pedri. They already play with Jordi Alba. They already play with PK. So we're getting players who are comfortable knowing each other, and that's just going to help accelerate the pace at which we get the team right on track, right? And
definitely.
I think we have a big
They trust each other. Yeah. I don't think there's much more we can say about how happy we are. Everything we're saying is almost very positive, and there's some things, we're saying that are going to continue to grow and become better. But I'm just so happy this is such a big game that we won and 4-2, and I need to soak this in, because this is right after the game. We're pumped up, we're excited, we're coming forward. You said we have that game. Yes, exactly.
Then Napoli, then I think Valencia. So some big games coming up again for the rest of the month, and we're so excited. We thank you guys for listening. Please smash that subscribe button, because we got some things cooking in the Xavi Barca, and we're excited. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.